this beat breakdown video, we're going to be breaking down a pop/hip-hop beat that I made from my beat store. This is an upbeat pop beat, so if you want to know how to make this sort of track, then make sure you watch to the end of this video, because I'm going to be giving a transparent overview about how I built up this production in a way of explaining it that hopefully can help you and benefit your productions going forward. So, with that said, this is the production in front of us. Now, first thing to do would be to give this track a listen to see exactly what it is we're breaking down today. So, for a little bit of context on this beat, I decided I wanted to make a kind of like happy birthday upbeat inspired beat. Kind of a very niche idea, but the main premise of upbeat pop/hip hop remains in there. So yeah, this is the beat. Now, the whole point of this is it's not really something you would associate with like proper, more hardcore rappers in like the trap or hip hop space. There's a very cheesy element to this beat, but that's completely intentional for this beat. Again, it's a certain type of beat that you can make, and I wanted it to be cheesy. I wanted it to be very poppy, but also have that kind of hip hop element. So if anyone did want to rap over it, it could really suit that style. So everything that's here is the order that everything has been added. So if you get an understanding of how I've built this production, exactly one of the hardest things is actually building the track from the ground up. Like, where do you start? And I wanted to make a beat today like this, and I thought, okay, so I need really the rhythm section to be on point for it to be bouncy. So I started with the drums today. And for the drums, we're using Contact and we're using Urban Beats Loops. This is my favorite drum preset. I use this for all kinds. I use this for indie pop. I use this for pop hip hop. I even use this for some Christmas beats that I've done as well. Like, very diverse for what it is. So yeah, this is the drum beat that I came up with. Put these in as well. And if we break this down into individual elements, obviously you've got your kick and snare here. And then hi-hats. And I do have a block that gets added. And we've got a shaker as well. This one I found in the splice, by the way. And then just loads of effects as well, just to keep everything in time. And yeah, so like, it's the basic idea, but this is the whole percussion section, and I use everything throughout, try and spread it out as much as possible, and it works really well. So then now I've got the drums down, I wanted to try and establish the chords, is what I like to call it. So I made sure that I added piano next, because I did want that kind of hip hop piano sound. Kind of like I hear a lot of artists, like, or especially beat makers in the space, like Omnito Beats. Like, he's someone who does it really well with the horns as well. So I was kind of wanting something that's kind of vibe when I was thinking of this track. So this is the piano here that I've added in. Now, for the main premise of this, to make the piano really sort of like bouncy and established in the track, is I've got two different tracks here. One of the pianos is basically kind of playing the bass root note of the whole production, as you can hear. And then we've got the chords on the second one. And then what I've done is I've got a sample delay on both of them. One goes to the left, one goes to the right, so the piano becomes stereo, especially because it's MIDI. This is really important. It puts it in its place in the mix. And then at that point, it's a really good place, and it makes sense to add in the 808s with this underneath. And I've gone for the deep 808 with the deep 808 bass preset in Alchemy. I do like Alchemy for its 808s. Wanted the bass not to be replicating what the piano was doing in the low end, because that wouldn't be very interesting. We want some sort of counter melody going on in the bass section, so I made sure that the bass was kind of not playing exactly the same, but kind of playing off the bass. So let's have a listen. So as you hear, they're playing two different things, but that helps with the rhythm section in the low end, so when we add the drums in, it's really nice and bouncy. Okay, so now we got on to the next part, which is really fun. I really wanted to incorporate trumpets in this one, and trumpets is something that could be really hard to get right, but I wanted to use Logic because I kind of like the thought of it actually quite sounding MIDI in this one. Like, normally you try to make stuff sound real, but I really wanted the MIDI-ness of these trumpets to really be exposed in this, because I feel like it could add to the sort of like cheesy pop side of this kind of beat that I was going for. So I came up with these trumpets. The only thing I've really done is I've added a reverb on with a 4.8 second decay. So it's quite a big reverb in itself, not like only 17.5% mixed in, but it creates this really nice ambient like halo. So with that all considered, I wanted then at this point just to have some sort of counter melody going with it. And I really wanted for this one, because it was a happy birthday pop hip hop beat again, really wanted to try and think of something super specific and niche on this point. So I added in this melody, which is kind of doing the happy birthday melody, but not really. And it's the Atractic Son, which is a Bell Symphony Logic. And it was just this melody, very delicate. But I made sure it was kind of playing off of the trumpets, so you get this really nice kind of like counter melody going on. So when I recorded in this melody, the only thing I had playing was the trumpets, because I really wanted to focus on these melodies being quite nice together and not clashing at any point. Really super important part of this process when making this beat. And just to top it all off, I quickly chucked in Airways, which is just one of my favourite pads. At this point, it's kind of a staple of my kind of sounds and production, because I literally use this pad almost in everything, just because I like it, and it's just a preference thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. There you go. And then the only last real thing I can add, really, is these studio violin ones, which I added into pre-chorus, just to add some sort of extra development. And weirdly, I just decided from a creative decision just to have them in the pre-chorus, because I kind of like to have really subtle developments and stuff. And I thought, well, how can I make the pre-chorus a little bit more interesting? Because so far this song's very repetitive, as you can see. And like these sorts of songs, they tend to be, especially from a production point of view. So sometimes when I'm making productions, I will just chuck a random texture or instrumentation in at just random points in the song and just not have them play again. I think it's a good habit to get into, because it just makes the productions a little bit more interesting. And then the listener might suddenly expect, for example, the strings to be in the chorus, but when they're not in there, you're like, oh, okay. So it just keeps the listener on their toes a little bit more. When you put it all together, like, again, super simple, and you get this beat. And there you go. That's how you make a pop and hip hop beat. Now, if you are someone who is trying to make beats like this, or any sort of beats, and you're struggling for source inspiration, highly recommend you quickly check out the link below. Now this video is done. It is called the Ultimate Pop Producer Sample Pack. I've built this sample pack's got over 1,000 royalty-free samples in it, so you can find new sources of inspiration for your music. I hope it helps. So yeah, guys, that is the end of the video for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the subscribe button. This is the best way to support the channel. But till the next video, guys, keep making music, and I'll see you in the next video.